I'm Jeff Hunt. He's Bill Thorpe, and we're back, baby.
But I was enjoying the vacation.
You were full of turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes and all the good stuff.
I was enjoying
and now
that.
we got to come back, and it's really cold and dark. And
Sleeping in was nice.
it was,
I mean,
it was
I didn't
very
get to
nice.
sleep in a lot. But
Well, then
a
last
little.
night, dude, they shouldn't, just for our sake, not do Broncos games late on a Sunday night.
Oh, that was ridiculous. And you and I both, we talked before the show, you and I both made the decision to stay up because it was the Broncos.
Of course we are, because we're true Coloradans, Mr. Thorpe.
Bad decision, though, this morning. Bad decision, but good decision. Got to see
Delirious
the win.
is what we are, but it was beautiful. My kids all
nice.
in their pajamas, staying up later than they should, jumping around, hugging each other,
great.
then sad, then hugging each other, then sad. You know, it's like there's just this roller coaster of emotions. And then the slap down on the pass.
Yeah, that was impressive. That was really
Amazing.
good because the guy was open. That was gonna be
exactly.
Yeah, he was wide open. Yeah, again.
Bonito.
Yeah, right play, right call, and great play by Nick Bonito. That was fantastic. Then, again, the Washington Commanders held strong against our pressure most of the evening. I was surprised how few
With
times
a backup
we're able
quarterback.
to. Yeah, but again, it's Mariota who comes out of the Ducks and is second pick in the draft. I think the Titans take him, and he's there for a little while, doesn't really do much, goes to the Raiders and bounces around a little bit after that. He was one of those newfangled, and I'm not sure if he comes out of the Chip Kelly system, but I think so at the time, or right around the Chip Kelly era. He's either in the Chip Kelly system or he's just after. And he is one of those new hybrid quarterbacks. And so when the NFL was trying to figure out what to do with this part running back, part throwing guy that doesn't really sit in the pocket and is dependent upon a lot of motion and running things quickly, that's where he came from, but he wasn't necessarily an NFL passer, and that hurt him early on, and he has developed that skill. His ability to get that ball out of his hands in 2.5 seconds is remarkable. The way that he progresses through reads, he doesn't see them all the time, but the way that he gets through the read, and he's a big guy to try to tackle. He creates some problems. He has become a really nice, serviceable NFL quarterback. I'm not sure if any team will take a starter position on him, but he did everything he needed to from a backup and more. In fact, I hope our friend Gabe's up with us this morning, and you guys might need a quarterback. Geno Smith, I'm just saying, maybe head coach. Just, I'm looking out for you, Gabe. I'm looking out for you. Yeah, maybe a return to the Raiders might be something that would be difficult to deal with here in the AFC West. I would not want to see Mariota go back to the Raiders. That would be something that would bother me a lot because of this particular skill set that he has. But he looked great last night, and good for him. Good for him for sticking around and making it work and shining out really nicely on a Sunday night for him. That was good for Mariota. That was kind of a nice little redemption story for him.
We'll talk more with Blake Olson about that. We've got a jam-packed show for you. So much to cover. The Afghan refugees coming in, the D.C. National Guard shooting, the Somali Minnesota fraud with Tim Walz. That's wild. Corruption in Ukraine. Car crashes all over Colorado. What is going on here? Franktown, Lakewood, Glenwood Springs. Did you see the video of that tanker crashing into Yale and I-25?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah,
that was crazy. Then Senator Faith Winter dies?
Yeah, that was sad to hear. Yeah.
Very sad here, right before Thanksgiving. And then Trump and Venezuela. What is going on? We have so much to talk about. Most importantly, though, we want to invite you to be part of the conversation. Give us a call at 303-696-1971 or text us on the Dan Capitalist Law text line at 720-819-5115. Now it's time for news and comment. Mr. Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome back to the week, full week. after Thanksgiving. 15 and clear in Denver, expecting a high of 41 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story before we get to the commies, lefties, seditious six, the deep state, CIA, the Islamists trying to destroy us from within. Sunday Night Football, the Broncos in D.C. How appropriate. Overtime, going for 9 straight wins. Broncos lead by 1. The Commanders go for 2 and the victory.
Washington for the win. Mariota has it rejected by Benito, and Denver has won 9 in a row.
Benito. 27-26.
Always go for the win. Always go for the win.
Yeah, I love it, man. Credit them for going for the win.
I was listening to Chris DeGaulle before us.
Yeah, so was I.
Chris is going, no, you go to overtime. Well, they were already in overtime.
Yeah.
But, no, always go for the win.
Yeah, man, go for it. I love that.
They were 3 yards from winning this thing, right?
Yeah.
All they had to do was get it in. That guy was wide open.
Wasn't the end of regulation. It was overtime. And, if it wasn't for Benito getting his hands up,
yes.
and I scream all the time about that. I remember when Alfred Williams was playing for the Broncos, I loved it because I would always scream at him, man, get your hands up, get your hands up. And man, he would bat balls down. I mean, you're 6'4", 6'5", sometimes you get your hand up and you're 7'1". So that was a huge win. Great job by everyone involved. The offensive line, the defensive line.
10-2, brother.
Yeah, 10-2.
That was the chant in our house last night. 10-2, 10-2.
It's impressive, man. Anytime you're on the road, and Billy brought up a great point. I mean, Mariota played extremely well, and the Commanders played well, and it was just a great game. Bo Nix had some huge plays. I mean, you look back at it and you're talking about centimeters before his knee hits the ground, the turf, and he throws a touchdown pass. It was beautiful.
How about the guy that had cancer and then gets the ball knocked out? Singleton.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Knocks that ball out. That was a game changer right there.
No doubt. It's those little things, man, that people don't talk about. Everyone always talks about how many yards the quarterback throws for and how many touchdowns in the running backs. But, man, there's so many things going on. And here's how the Broncos took the lead in overtime, in case you didn't hear this.
Running back. He's got it. Left side. He's into the end zone for the touchdown.
I think that was Harvey. So I can't see it right now. But, he gets into the end zone. And Sean Payton, after the game.
They're tough out. The quarterback was able to make some plays. Our 3rd and long, again, became an issue. And then they converted some 4th downs. But we got the play when we needed it.
So the Broncos returned home this morning, back to work Wednesday. And then this Sunday, the Broncos at the Raiders as they go for 10 straight wins.
Gabe texted in 2 and 10. 2 and 10.
Poor Gabe, man.
The notorious Raiders fan that listens to the show.
Horrible. God, poor Gabe.
It's because you got that head coach. What's his name? Pete something?
Pete Carroll?
No, he's terrible.
He's a great coach.
Really?
It's just, he's a great coach.
When I go back to the days he was at USC and then jumped out of there as all the problems were collapsing on him.
Yeah, he's a great coach. The personnel's not there right now, and they have some injuries. I don't know. It's the Raiders. I don't know if they're going to be okay. Who knows? But he brought along a quarterback that has seen his best days. His best days are behind him, and maybe Pete's are as well now. Pete Carroll's a great coach. Let's see. But, it's the Raiders once again. It's the commitment to excrement. So Always remember that. If you care, but the uniforms are the best. No doubt. By the way, the uniforms last night, I don't like those, man. I don't like that pumpkin orange. I like the bright orange in the 80s uniforms. And if Billy's listening, no. The orange pants, orange jerseys, nah.
It was a little off. I'm not sure. I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the orange shirt and the orange pants was a little off for me. At least the darker blue set it up okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it wasn't,
Not enough white in there. There's the blue stripe on the side. But see, and that orange just isn't electric, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like the 80s, like the 80s, 70s, 80s orange.
Exactly. Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah.
All right, let's go back to real life now. And D.C., General Mike Flynn, just in case you checked out the last 4 days.
We must stop the CIA from driving U.S. policy, domestically and foreign. I'm telling you, Steve, that is a massive, massive problem. And I wouldn't say 50%. I would say shut the doors. It is no longer, it's a dead organization because it's an organization that is killing. It operates in the darkness. It is killing us. And so that's my message to President Trump. That's sort of step one for him. I don't care what somebody's handicap is. You take that organization and you rip it apart because that organization is driving our policy everywhere, and it's killing our country right now. And it really is. I mean, the people that are part of it and the people that have been part of it are the ones still operating and driving everything going on in our nation. I mean, it's got to stop. It has.
And DJT responding to a Washington Post report that Secretary of War Pete Hegseth ordered the killing of everyone aboard a drug boat in the Caribbean, leading to a second strike to eliminate 2 survivors.
They're tough out. The quarterback.
Well, that was the wrong one. They are a tough out.
He said he did not say that, and I believe him 100%.
Venezuela is now accusing the U.S. of murder after acknowledging publicly for the first time its citizens were among those killed in the boat strikes.
Now, Blake, have you heard they've renamed the Gulf of America? Now at a second time.
I did not hear this.
It's the Gulf of Exploding Cartel Members.
I needed my rim shot and I didn't have it. Got it. Very nice. Very nice. I don't know how many characters or how many letters are in that. It may be difficult to put on the map.
A globe. Right. I just got my new globe.
What's the acronym for that?
GOECM. Go and come.
I love it, man. Yeah. Came back strong, Jeff. That's awesome, man. You've been working on some stuff over Thanksgiving break, man. I love it. DJT responding to, let's see, here we go. 2 people in the hospital after a head-on crash on US 6 near Clear Creek Canyon. State Patrol says 2 Dodge Ram pickups collided head-on Sunday afternoon at milepost 263. Emergency crews had to extricate a person from one of the vehicles, and 2 people were transported with serious injuries. The driver of one of the trucks left the scene on foot, but the State Patrol says the driver has been contacted. And police investigating a deadly crash involving a pedestrian on I-25 in Denver near Yale early Saturday morning. The pedestrian died after being taken to the hospital. No arrests have been announced, and no other information has been released. The driver of that fuel tanker died on Thursday after crashing in to the Yale Avenue Bridge. The retainer wall is damaged, and RTD's E and H line schedules have been modified until repair work is completed. It's 12 in Golden, 14 in Aurora, 15 in Denver. You're waking up with Jeff and Bill. Welcome back. And they continue now. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Your 710 KNUS forecast this early Monday. A few passing clouds this morning, temperatures around 15 this morning. Then for the rest of your Monday, becoming mostly sunny this afternoon, highs around 40. Partly cloudy tonight, lows in the lower 20s. Partly sunny for Tuesday, highs around 45. Weather brought to you by L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. That's bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. I'm day weather meteorologist Patrice Sutter in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Well, Black Friday may be done, but Mountain High Appliance is going to keep their Black Friday sale happening till the end of this week. Yes, I want to talk to you about my friends at Mountain High Appliance. Come in and check out their Black Friday sale happening now through December 7th at all their showrooms. Experience incredible savings on today's top brands. Save up to $4,400 on select KitchenAid appliance packages. And don't forget their price match guarantee that ensures you're getting the best deal. When you think appliances, think locally owned. Mountain High Appliance open 7 days a week. Now, Bill, this happened while we were off, but the shooting that took place in Washington, D.C., heartbreaking, the death of Specialist Sarah Beckstrom. She was 20 years old. Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf, 24, also shot by a guy named Ramanula Lakanwal. Now, this is a guy that had come from Afghanistan. He was part of that Operation Allies Welcome that rushed in to the United States, people that had worked with troops while in Afghanistan. And I'm intrigued by the story for two reasons. One, it's the second shooting. And a lot of people may have forgotten about this, but there was a guy named Jamal Wally in Fairfax, Virginia in April that shot at Fairfax police when he was pulled over. And the body cam footage of this is wild. It's at my X account if you want to see it, x.com/Jeff Hunt. You can see the body cam footage where the guy spouts off lots of expletives, but basically says, I should have served with the Taliban. Coming to the United States was a huge mistake. I can't make it here. I brought my family. This thing was a giant error. And if you remember, the Taliban, shortly after reclaiming Afghanistan, was going around and killing anybody that was associated with the United States. I mean, I even think Glenn Beck, I could be wrong at this, but Glenn Beck had gotten a plane and was flying to Afghanistan to try to get people out of there. But a lot of people were using their resources to try to rescue these folks that were being hunted down by the Taliban. And then a few years later, we're now on our second shooting from someone that had worked with either the troops or the CIA, and very similar in their frustrations. The CNN had an interesting article on this about the guy that did the shooting recently, just before Thanksgiving, where he shot 2 National Guards. So investigators are looking to establish motives and understand. They've been piecing together details about Lakanwal's life. The information that has emerged is largely related to the Afghan nationals' interactions with the immigration process. Authorities have learned in interviews with the suspect's family that Lachenwall may have suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. Multiple law enforcement officials familiar with the case have told CNN. According to the sources, family members told authorities that the PTSD stemmed from the fighting Lachenwall did in Afghanistan, where he fought in a CIA-sponsored and trained unit of the Afghan Special Forces known as a Zero Unit. Lachenwall appeared to have been unraveling for years, unable to hold a job and flipping between long, lightless searches of isolation and taking sudden, weeks-long cross-country drives. Emails obtained by the Associated Press indicate his behavior deteriorated so sharply that a community advocate reached out to a refugee organization for help, fearing he was becoming suicidal. The emails reveal mounting warnings about the asylum seeker whose erratic conduct raised alarms long before the attack. Listen to that. Long before the attack that jolted the nation's capital on Wednesday, the evening before Thanksgiving. The previously unreported concerns offer the clearest picture yet of how he was struggling in his new life in the United States after arriving through Operation Allies Welcome, a program that evacuated and resettled tens of thousands of vulnerable Afghans after the American withdrawal. Many had worked alongside U.S. troops and diplomats. Lachenwall lived in Bellingham, Washington, with his wife and 5 children, according to the Department of Homeland Security. A neighbor who requested to remain anonymous told CNN that his 2 nephews lived with him as well. A community member shared with the Associated Press emails that had been sent to the U.S. Committee for Refugees and Immigrants, a nonprofit group that provides services to refugees. Ramanallah has not been a functional person, father, and provider since March of last year. This was March of 2023. He had quit his job, and his behavior had changed greatly, the person wrote in a January 24 email. The emails the Associated Press obtained described a man who was unable to hold a steady job, commit to his English courses, while he alternated between periods of dark isolation and reckless travel. Sometimes he spent weeks in his darkened room, not speaking to anyone, not even his wife or older kids. At one point in 2023, the family faced eviction after months of not paying rent. The neighbor said he was unemployed and been looking for a job for quite some time. Lachenwall's work history in the U.S. is not entirely clear, but Amazon confirms that a person with the suspect's name was an independent contractor with the company for 1 month this last summer, working its flex delivery services. This gets wild. A couple of times when Lachenwall's wife left him with the kids for a week to travel to visit relatives, the children would not be bathed, their clothes would not be changed, they would not eat well, the emails the Associated Press obtained show. The schools even raised concerns about the situation. But then there would be interim weeks where he would try to do the right things and make things up and try to be a better. But he had quickly evolved into manic episodes for 1 or 2 weeks at a time where he would take off in the family car and drive nonstop. Once he went to Chicago and another time to Arizona. I find this fascinating in part, Mr. Thorpe, because it was about a year ago, and I've tried to dive through when this happened, maybe a year and a half ago. I'm trying to remember why I was in D.C. I was in D.C. for some series of meetings and captured an Uber to Reagan Airport. And the guy that drove me was an Afghan refugee that had come in on the same program, Operation Welcome Allies or whatever it's called. And it was one of the most bizarre conversations because I jumped in and was like, hey, how you doing? You know, all that being type of friendly and that type of stuff. And the guy just like opened up. I mean, just like vented his frustration. And it was a weird venting, right? Like, Bill, if you and I were having a hard day, we'd be like, oh, yeah, things things are rough.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it. But we'd be generally pretty pleasant people, even if we were going through hard times and driving for Uber to make ends meet and all that stuff. This guy was like deeply offended and like frustrated that the United States, either that he was in the United States and he wished he wasn't, or that things weren't working out well in the United States. So a lot of the same complaints you hear from these guys, I heard from this guy, that things are tough, that he should have never joined up with the United States, that America isn't his homeland, and this deep-seated, like, anger kind of poured out of this guy. And I was just frankly glad to get out of the Uber. And it was maybe like a 15-minute ride. It wasn't that long. And I just kind of got out and I was like, I remember thinking to myself, man, I'm just going to pray for this guy. This was before all this stuff happened. I was like, this guy's just really broken. It doesn't sound like he has a home. It doesn't sound like he can make it work with his family here, that he can't make the money he wants to be able to make. But the level of anger and frustration was one that was deeper than you would just see with a guy that's facing hard times. Because we've all faced hard times, and not saying that we faced anything what these guys have faced, but it just seemed like a level of rage was there that caught me off guard. What do you make of these guys that are coming from Afghanistan, part of the Operation Allies Welcome, and they're shooting law enforcement?
Well, a couple of different things. The one thing that, and again, I always kind of look at things a little bit differently, that jumped out to me in all three of the examples that you've shared this morning so far is it doesn't appear as if those refugees were living high on the hog on the U.S. tax dollar. And the reason I bring that up is because when we have conversations about immigrants, both legal and illegal, and those that are looking for asylum, eventually in that conversation, we will receive a phone call or a text message of someone saying, well, they come here because they just get everything for free. When they get here, they get free rent and a free car and a free house and a free this and a free phone and free this and free and it doesn't seem like these three individual cases that you shared are celebrating the largesse of the U.S. taxpayer. In fact, it seems like them actually having to make it work, them having to get a job, learn English classes, do the stuff that will assimilate them into society and is the process, if you are an asylum seeker, to getting temporary or even permanent status here. It seems like that was the issue, not that they didn't have to worry about it. I mean, in both those stories, I think we had things where the people were talking about not being able to make rent. So the idea, again, I just want to show that. That was one of the things that popped up in my mind at first, is if this guy was having so many troubles, and if the U.S. taxpayer, as we were always told, pays for everything, that these refugees don't have to worry about anything, then again, that's not shown by the story, especially of the shooter inside of D.C. That's not the story that we got on that side. I just thought that was really important.
Yeah, but that doesn't justify the attacks on law enforcement.
I'm not saying it justify. I'm not using it in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Where I'm starting is the point of perhaps sometimes our perception of these immigrants getting all the free stuff, maybe that is incorrect. Again, I'm not saying it justifies any of the violence or any of the feelings one way or another of any of the three stories that you shared. I just thought that was an interesting piece of information, given that every other time we talk about immigrants, it's about all the largesse they get from the American taxpayer, all the freebies, how easy it is for them, how all they have to do to get more money is just have more babies, and then they get more money. That's all they have to do.
We will talk about the $1 billion that
I know that's the Somali thing. That's
in Minnesota.
Again, that's still not necessarily the same thing, and we can get to that. And that's again why I brought up the fraud as far as Somali and looking at that coming forward. Is it doesn't look like these guys were necessarily part of any sort of a fraud scheme or any sort of a large, hey, the American taxpayer will take care of you while everybody else in America suffers. It seems like they're going through the same thing. So I think that's important. The other part is, and I think that's important for the conversation, especially when we get into the Somali thing later, because Jeff, the given there's going to be someone that's going to call the show or hit the text messages that, well, all the Somalis do when they get here is get all the free stuff, and that's all they get. They get everything for free, and we as the U.S. taxpayers are suckers. That's why I'm highlighting this. That's not necessarily the case here. This also seems to show me that we are not doing enough to make sure that they assimilate, that the back end, I've talked about this for years, the back end of our immigration system is broken. The idea of adjudicating who should be here as far as asylum and getting everybody mainstreamed, that's somewhat broken. And there are red flags from this D.C. shooter that go back to March of 2023, as you outlined.
Correct.
And we didn't do anything about it. And I'm saying we as the royal we, as a society. We weren't too concerned about getting him some mental health. We weren't too concerned about things that he could do. Weren't too concerned about his family. And I also see in the 3 cases of the Afghani refugees that you highlighted, many of the same frustrations that we are hearing from average people inside of the U.S., especially average males, about the idea that I can't get ahead. I can't do this. I'm not going to be able to afford. No matter what happens to me, I'm always going to be left behind. I'm always getting screwed by the system. And that anger then releases itself through the use of a firearm in public. That's kind of what I see in this case, too.
What are examples of that happening with Americans where they're, like you said, releasing a firearm in public because they can't get ahead?
I'm talking about just frustrations about where you are.
I understand that.
Okay, I'll give me some time and I'll go pull a list and I'll have a list for you shortly. But a lot of it is because of whatever it was, the system. I mean, we talked about even going back to the guy in the Las Vegas shooter at the concert. That seemed to be someone that was frustrated by the system. When you're talking about people going after some of the religious institutions that we've had recently, again, frustration with the system, people not seeing me, not understanding me. There's a whole series of those, but that seems to be what's happening here in some cases. So, we had the immigrant shooter. Again, I'll go back and I'll look at lists, but it seems that is a motivation many times when someone's picking up a gun and going into public and opening fire. Anger at this. You're frustrated about this. We had the guy that was shooting randomly into the restaurant off the coast of, was it North Carolina or something a couple of weeks ago? Same thing. Anger about this, that, or the other thing. You're not listening to me. I'm not getting ahead, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's kind of what we're seeing.
So in your mind, you lump them together. You see the 2 attacks on law enforcement in the last year by Afghanis that came in with Operation Allies Welcome under the same banner as the frustration of anybody in America, essentially, even Americans themselves, with the way life's going. You don't see a distinction.
I'm not certain I would go as far as, as do it in an overarching whole banner. But yeah, there are a lot of the influences that I see in regular American shooters. I see the same types of influences here, the same type of frustration. I see the same types of anger, the same types of feelings. Yeah, I see something that seems, very similar in those cases.
I see it differently. I think that there is something within this culture, because we've now had 2 direct attacks on law enforcement and then my own personal experience with the Uber driver about coming to the greatest nation in the history of the world, to the point where we've got a good text message from ILJ that said, I had Polish grandparents that showed up here and didn't need any help assimilating. They just learned the language, respected the flag. They learned the country's history. They didn't need to be hand-fed the entire process. My wife's family are immigrants that showed up with barely any money in their pockets and started dairy farming in California and built a great future. I don't think showing up poor, I don't think showing up not knowing the language, while definitely all hurdles, you live in the most accommodating, most welcoming nation in the world, and yet these guys are taking out their frustration by shooting innocent law enforcement. I think there's something different there than just, well, when people get frustrated, they sometimes do this. But feel free to join the conversation, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Capitalist Law text line at 720-819-5115. Guys, let's talk about advanced hair restoration. If you're losing your hair and desire to have it back, then Advanced Hair Restoration has the easiest guaranteed solution. Their simple one-day treatment offers life-changing results. I've seen it with my own eyes. Guys, it's not magic, but close to it. They put hair where you need it the most, and bam, it grows. It's actually science. Advanced Hair has it all. Top-rated Dr. Tanya Paul's modern technology. And best of all, you get your own natural hair that begins regrowing the very next day. Advanced Hair even guarantees it will grow for life. So schedule your free consultation now, 720-459-HAIR. If you qualify, you'll get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver and has changed the lives of tens of thousands of people. So don't wait. Check out the before and afters online for yourself at 720-459-HAIR or advancedhair.com. That's 720-459-HAIR or advancedhair.com. We'll continue with your phone calls and texts. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're talking the shooting, the heartbreaking shooting of 2 National Guardsmen, the death of Specialist Sarah Beckstrom, only 20 years old, and then Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf, 24, looks like he's going to recover, thank God. The shooter, Ramanullah Lachenwall, interesting, fascinating history with him. He comes in as part of Operation Allies Welcome in 2021. But this isn't the first shooting. This is actually the second shooting in the last year by someone that had been employed at some point either by the armed forces or the CIA in Afghanistan, comes in under Biden's Operation Allies Welcome. The first one, Jamal Wally, shooting in Fairfax, Virginia in April of 2025. Seems to be in a very similar situation. Can't get a job, angry, frustrated, says to the cops himself, I should have just served with the Taliban. It wasn't worth it. And then a lot of email evidence that the shooter of the 2 National Guardsmen was going through very similar feelings about the United States. I had an encounter with an Uber driver where the guy had come from Afghanistan, served with armed forces, American armed forces in Afghanistan, and just full of anger and frustration about the United States. What is going on here? Let's go to the phone lines. We got Marcus in Aurora. Good morning, Marcus. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Good morning, guys. I have a different view on this. We got 2 different cultures and religions working here. In the majority of these cases, they're Muslim people, and they believe in Sharia law and stuff like that. And our culture is different too. So you got to put the religious aspect into it too. And that's about all I got to say.
And what do you think about their religion makes them more, I guess, do you think it's more prone to violence?
Yeah, I really believe that because, we're like the infidels. Not all Muslims think that, but it's just part of their tradition and part of their Sharia law. So you can see why these guys, they're here, they're unhappy. It's not their culture. And it'd be the same way if you ever ended up in a combat zone, all you want to do is go home. No, I think these guys have the same purpose there.
Marcus, I mean, so you're just saying that because they're Muslim, they're more likely to be violent?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying because they served in a war where the Muslims are always involved with the terrorists and everything, and they get that attitude. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No. I'm rather curious because the guy that shot the D.C. guardsman worked for us. So they didn't work with terrorists. And so what way did he get into, or what did we do when he was working with us to turn him into this? Because it wouldn't have been the Taliban, because he wasn't working with the Taliban. So it would have been his time working with our military. So what happened?
Listen to what he said. I should have joined the Taliban because he feels guilty for what he did.
Wait, hang on. That's not what he said. That's a story from another guy.
I understand. But I'm just saying.
What do you make of that sentiment, Bill or Marcus, that these guys joined up with the United States as a result of the withdrawal, which was disastrous under Biden? They have to flee to the United States. They don't like living here, and they're expressing regret from having joined up with the United States. What do you make of that?
I mean, that says it all. They got a guilt complex that they had to turn and kill their own people. And they have that guilt complex. Do you understand? Under their law and religion, they're not supposed to be doing that. And now they're having regrets.
Oh, what do you think of that regret?
I disagree, because we've seen Muslim on Muslim violence a number of times. I disagree with Marcus's interpretation, and the people that have been identified as Muslim are less than 5% of the mass shooters that we have in America. So the idea that the religion is driving them, I would disagree with as well. I think that this is a different type of a problem, that this has to do with, one, our asylum process, and then two, our assimilation process in America, and then also just the state of mental health and the economy in America. I think it is a multi-pronged process that you're taking someone that had tremendous stress. Probably, I can see the idea of PTSD, given the fact that what he was involved in 10 years over in Afghanistan, probably having some issues, much like other servicemen and women that are Americans have PTSD issues after coming home from Afghanistan and Iraq. I could see that being fairly universal, and then having some of the struggles that the average person here in America is having right now, except it is compounded because this individual is trying to assimilate, start their life, and trying to show their family that it was worth it. And I bet there are some things around their life that don't feel like it was worth it, especially when your kids start being more like mouthy American teenagers than they are more like they could be under the Taliban, because you have more ability to control what they say. I mean, in Afghanistan, they told women they had to stop talking in public recently. So a lot more control over what people can and can't do and say as far as freedom of speech and freedom of expression.
But
so
I guess
I think there's a layers of things that happen.
I hear from you that Islam is not inherently violent, but that Islam also has inherent problems, like you're talking about the treatment of women and the way the Taliban treats women and stuff like that. I mean, do you see inherent problems with the religion of Islam?
Here's the thing. I think that doesn't matter in this particular conversation per se, because it doesn't seem like those particular problems led to anything here based on this violence.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, Marcus, we got to get to You Choose the News. Appreciate the call. We'll continue the conversation. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
missed it, and I know our listeners did as well, let's give them a little bit of Bill Thorpe's You Choose the News.
Yes, it's that time of the morning where we play America's favorite fake radio news game show. It's You Choose the News. Yes, I have spent moments over the last couple of days scouring the interwebs for really dumb stories about us humans. There were a lot of them. And I gave them even more ridiculous headlines so that we can play this fake radio news game show because those in charge do not awaken until 7 o'clock. And so Jeff and I are left completely and totally unsupervised, and we are going to take full advantage. As always, Blake Olson joins us from the newsroom. Jeff's in the studio. Here are your headlines, sirs. Headline number 1, review the reviews. Headline number 2, joyful kidnapping. Headline number 3, reinventing the mousetrap. And headline number 4, distributing the supplies.
Let's reinvent the mousetrap, please.
Yes, why don't we reinvent the mousetrap? This comes to us from Japan. Yamada Holdings said it's going to sell a brand new washing machine after it attracted so much attention at a recent Osaka Expo. The demonstration of the Mirai washing machine. Oh wait, I didn't have the entire name there. It is the Mirai Human Washing Machine. It's going to be displayed at the store through December 25th with an actual experience corner. Now, the company has not decided when it will start selling the product. Price expected to be around, hold on, $390,000. Now, the human washing machine was produced by the company, and basically you lay down in about a 2.5 meter long capsule. Then you are washed by the machine with micro bubbles, a fine mist shower, and the whole process, including drying, is complete in about 15 minutes. Sensors monitor your health during use, and the machine provides relaxing visuals and music. More than 40,000 applications have been submitted for just having the experience at the expo. So they think there's a market for it. Most expensive shower ever, $390,000.
Yeah, the visuals on that
I know.
thing when
and
you close your eyes.
It takes 15 minutes. That's too long in the shower. I'm sorry. If you're showering for 15 minutes, you're too dirty. I'm sorry. It's just you're doing something else. Okay. All right, Jeff.
Like what?
Yeah, I'm not even talking about that this early in the morning. Blake, your choice, sir. Review the reviews, joyful kidnapping, or distributing the supplies.
Joyful kidnapping.
Joyful kidnapping, yes. Finally, the story of a kidnapping at UC Berkeley has a happy ending. A group of people who grabbed a UC Berkeley student and pushed him into a van on campus last week did it as part of a prank related to their fantasy football league. The student is safe, walked into the UC Berkeley Police Department on Wednesday afternoon to clear up the confusion before Thanksgiving holiday. Tuesday night, witness saw a group of people described as 8 to 10 college-age males carry another person and put them in a cargo van near Stevens Hall. Witness reported the incident.
Old school.
Yeah, the witness reported the incident about an hour after it happened. So they were super concerned, obviously. And the crime alert, yes, University of California Police Department said the incident was a kidnapping or aggravated assault, but in a Wednesday update said, well, the witnesses hadn't heard any sounds of struggle or anything. In fact, they said there was giggling and laughing. So they weren't too concerned about it. And the student said, yeah, they were just kidnapping me. It's a fantasy football prank. Yeah. All right,
Nice.
Jeff, final choice.
That was
Yeah.
Berkeley, right?
Yeah,
So
Berkeley,
they had to
yes.
make sure it actually happened
Yes,
in
before.
between the bong hits.
Yes. All right, Jeff, review the reviews or distributing supplies?
Distributing supplies.
Yeah, distributing the supplies. A self-described influencer is drawing widespread criticism after posting videos where he's distributing supplies to local homeless people in U.S. cities. Yes, he's been seen in Austin, Austin, New Orleans, Little Rock, and elsewhere distributing liquor and machetes to the homeless.
Oh, gosh.
Right
Is
before
this like a
Thanksgiving.
new TikTok thing?
Again, I don't know. The 29-year-old Keith Castillo uses the handle POV Wolfie, is offering 18-inch stainless steel machetes purchased in bulk for about $5 each, as well as bottles of alcohol to people living on the streets. He's saying he's doing this to keep homeless people safe. Sure you are.
Yeah, you remember bum fights?
Yeah.
Remember that whole thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just another version of
yeah,
that.
so
Machetes
he said he
time.
has about 30 machetes in his car, plans to expand his stunt to Las Vegas, L.A., and New York City, where he expects to go in January.
Yeah, and
Sure
when
enough, he'll go
somebody
right.
gets
Cut your
hurt,
fruit.
sue them into the ground.
That's the end of You Choose the News. Back to you.
Like talking Fruit Ninja? Is that
gotta
drunk,
cut your fruit.
drunk
Oh, yeah,
Fruit Ninja?
Yep.
How you going to cut your oranges?
All right. Come back. We'll talk Somali, Minnesota fraud. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is KNUS.